Hi everybody, I've had to go live on my computer, which I hate doing because it means that I'm back to front and it's really weird. So hopefully somebody will come on live and let me know about the sound, because on my phone the sound isn't working for some reason. So I've had to go live on the big computer, which means that I'm all back to front and my nose looks weird, so I'm not very happy about that. Hi Gemma, going live in your group soon, 9:30. That's why I came in early, to come and do my live so I could get that done. And I've had a right nightmare with technology. So hopefully Gemma, fingers crossed, it works okay on yours. Okay, so the sound's working, but not on my phone. How weird. If anyone knows about that sort of thing, please let me know, because I've never had a problem with sound on a live before. Okay, so this is weird because I'm back to front. So when I pick up my cup of tea, it's on the wrong side of my hand and I don't like it. Okay. So my live today, I actually scheduled this in, which is unlike me, over the weekend, because what I saw was, I was trying not to work over the weekend. I did pretty well, to be fair. I have got an app on my phone which tells me how much I'm on my phone, and apparently it's improved slowly over the weekend. But what I did do is I posted a couple of questions in some of the groups that I manage and on my own pages, just around people's challenges at the moment, because I thought, I know it's back to front, I thought it would be interesting to think about what people would want me to talk about this week for my lives, because I've got no major promotion going on this week really, apart from Virtual Networking Club, which is obviously ongoing. And one of the common themes that I saw when we were looking at challenges was about negative people. And I thought I would do a live around negative people and some practical tips really about negative people. And one of the things that I wanted to say was that it's very, very common for you to, when you start your business, that people around you, and I don't mean particularly strangers off the internet, so these are people that you know in real life, usually friends, family, partner, you know, parents, and occasionally people who you're friends with online. What happens is the initial enthusiasm, the excitement for having a business, it's a big deal to you. It's a huge deal to you. And the sad news is that it's not that big a deal to other people, except your closest friends and family. And they'll be very, very supportive usually in the beginning. And then what happens is enthusiasm tends to wane. So there's a few reasons why people around you might be negative, and this can come up in loads and loads of different ways and for loads of different reasons. And it's just really, really difficult when you're working hard, and things are difficult anyway when people aren't as supportive as you would like them to be. There's a few reasons why. So when people love you, and it is usually people who love you, that you care about their opinion the most, of course. So when people love you and they care about you and they want you to be, you know, all those kind of caveman, cavewoman things, they want you to be safe, they want you to be happy, they want you to be, you know, able to feed and clothe yourself, you know, that kind of basic hierarchy of needs. You know, that's what they want for you. They want you to be mega successful as well, but then their main concern is that you're going to be safe. And when you do something like give up your job and start a business, then you are going into uncharted territory, and that makes people very, very uncomfortable at times if they've got your best interests at heart. So a lot of the negativity that you'll find around your business comes from a place of love, but is actually a place of fear for them. So their biggest fear is that you're going to struggle. But the thing is, your biggest fear is that you're going to struggle as well. So, you know, our biggest fears as humans are fear of rejection, you know, fear of failure, and the fear that we're not enough. They're our core kind of like fears. And when somebody who loves you voices some of that to you, it's almost like a mirror where you sort of think, oh my goodness, you know, these are my worst fears come true. You know, all the things I lie awake at night worrying about, here's somebody who I love and trust saying them back to me. You know, this is a disaster. So you're kind of like, your inner caveman goes, this is an absolute disaster. Not only am I thinking these fears, but here's somebody else who I love and trust who's voicing them back to me. And it can be very, very triggering, and it can make you react in a way that is almost like outside of your normal behaviors. And I think that's the one thing I want to talk about really, is how it makes you feel is this massive trigger to somebody who you love saying something back to you that's your biggest fear. So, you know, if you do any of these stuff, you know, you'll know that a lot of this stuff is around a mirror. So quite often it's a mirror of the things that you're worried about. But the one thing is that they tend to be coming from a place of love, but their own fear. And I think there's a couple of fears. So the initial fear, and this is quite common with parents, is that you're not going to be able to support yourself or survive, if you like, in caveman terms. And they worry that it's going to be difficult and it's going to be hard. And, you know, when you're a parent yourself, you want your children to be safe and comfortable and happy and, you know, and all those kind of good stuff. And there's something about having a job that, you know, over the last 40, 50 years has been a good thing, you know, and it is a good thing to have a steady job and a steady income, of course it is. But particularly with parents, and particularly if you're doing something that seems completely off the wall, like me, like training and coaching people online all around the world on a platform that they've barely heard of, it's like they don't understand it. So they don't get it, they don't understand it, and it just seems completely unknown, and the unknown is, again, a massive fear. So they can't, they're looking at it thinking, I love this person, but they're going to do something that seems very, very risky. And we don't want to take massive risks, because with risk, you know, comes the danger of those fears coming through, that you won't be able to support yourself, you won't be able to look after yourself, you will be struggling, or you will just be stressed and unhappy and all those kind of things. So parents are kind of go in their own category, because yes, they absolutely love you and adore you, and no, they usually don't understand what it is that you do or that you're trying to achieve. That said, I mean, obviously parents are wonderful and supportive and all the rest of it. But, you know, there's an element of fear, you know, when you've got your child there, you want them to be safe and secure and happy and, you know, and all those kind of things as well. Now with partners and friends, I think it's slightly different, because quite often they understand the world that you operate in. I mean, it depends on your business, but they are also coming from a place of fear. So I think the biggest fear for partners and friends is that you'll change. And it might be that you'll change as in you'll become super busy and you won't have time for them, or you become super successful and therefore you'll move on, and then you won't want to be like associated with them. And of course none of this is true, but this is the natural, again, that tribal thing of this is, you know, we're all in this together, we're all on a similar socio-economic kind of space, and if one of us goes out and does something mad and something becomes super successful, then does that mean they're going to be super busy? Does that mean they're going to meet other people? Does it mean that they are going to want to do things that I can't keep up with? And particularly in friends as well, you'll see this, where one person starts to become really successful and it changes the dynamic a little bit of the group. Not in all cases, but it can do. And I've seen this happen, you know, one person suddenly doing really well for themselves and they want to do more extravagant things and they kind of want to take everyone with them and they're happy to pay, but everyone's a bit like, oh, but we normally, you know, go to this sort of place, because that's always been our kind of comfort level around the money that we're spending. So there's that element as well. And I think as well with friends and partners, perhaps if they've got a steady, if you like, steady job, it's a kind of, I don't know what the word is, jealousy is a bit strong, but it's almost like you're doing something, if you start your own business, you'll do something that is essentially quite brave, quite stupid and all the rest of it, you know, it's a big risk. But if somebody around you, close to you, has always wanted to do something like that, or can't do something like that because they're kind of too frightened to do it, or they're in a place of fear, they're in a job that they don't feel like they could ever create a business that would enable them to leave it. And you see this quite a lot with very successful people, you know, well, you know, it's all right for you, you can leave your job sort of thing because you're on 20 grand a year, or I'm on 150 grand a year as a lawyer, so I'd have to create something much bigger to be able to make that leap. And maybe people around you sort of would have liked to do that, but they can't do it for whatever reason. It might be their circumstances, it might be finances, it might be they haven't got, you know, that kind of business acumen or whatever. They've got more responsibilities. They might be being negative through a place of envy, I guess, rather than jealousy. So that's another thing to think about, is to put yourself in the people around you who are being very negative about you and your business. although it really feels very, very personal, of course, and that's what I said right at the beginning. You know, when you love somebody and they say back to you your deepest fears around, am I worth, how is my self-worth, how do I feel, how do I feel about this, how do I feel about myself, how do I feel about my business, what if I fail, what if I'm not enough, what if it's all a complete and utter, catastrophe, disaster. When somebody you love says something back to you that makes you feel like they think that might be a possibility, suddenly it's like everything's a million times worse. But the way to deal with this is to try not to take it personally. It's very, very difficult, speaking from experience. Try and put yourself into their shoes. Where is this negativity coming from? Is it coming from a place of love? Is it coming from a place of fear? Is it coming from their own feelings of they're not enough or their lack of something? Or is it just a simple, I want you to be safe, and I've said something that's not the ideal thing for me to say, but I've said that from a place of love? And if so, it does help you if you can take a step back and try and get some perspective on it. Again, not something I'm very good at, but obviously it makes sense. If you can get some perspective on somebody who's being negative towards you in your business, then if it's somebody close to you, then it is usually coming from a place of love and just a place of fear for you. And, that's really sweet, but not very helpful. But you have to be able to put that, you have to try and take a breath and think, actually, this isn't really about me. It's about them. And quite often it is coming from a place of love rather than a kind of, what I need to be negative. It's just that fear, right back to those caveman things around, I don't want people to be out of the cave, because once you're out of the cave, which is quite often what you're doing, when you're standing up and saying, this is what I'm going to do as a business, I'm going to give up my well-paid job and I'm going to do this full-time because I love it. It's kind of like you're sort of moving away from your cave and standing outside and going, this is what I'm doing. And then obviously you're at danger of a saber-toothed tiger coming and eating you, except you're not. But that's the way that we are hardwired. And there's also a thing around when somebody steps outside of the cave and they say, I am this person, this is what I'm doing, and they stand really proud doing that, is that tall poppy syndrome of other people around you. So now we're talking about people, and if we move away from your friends and family and people who love you and into the wider world of people around your business. So these might be people that you know through your business who you've met, people who are in Facebook groups, that hive of tension online, Facebook groups that you're in, that they're in, people that you've done business with or people that you know, or our favourites, our competitors who do something similar to us. Good morning, Laura. Good morning, everybody. I'm doing this on my computer, so I'm struggling to keep my eye on the comments, which are that side, because I'm back to front and I can't go. Anyway, so I think hopefully we've covered people who love you. So friends, family, parents, partners, yeah? A lot of it comes from a place of love, but their own fear of, fear for you, basically. And then I understand how difficult it is when people voice back to you your innermost fears, when what you really want them to do is just be completely positive cheerleaders all of the time. That would be much more useful. So these are now moving on to people who we're not as close to, so we've not got that emotional bond, but who we thought were either friends or supporters of the business, or who we know are competitors in the nicest possible way. We have a similar kind of audience. So now we're moving into people of the internet. So this is a whole different ball game. You are not going to be as emotionally attached to what they say about you, I hope. However, we are all humans, and when people see, yes, it is tricky when people put their own limitations onto you. Of course it is. You have to put yourself into their shoes and just think, how is this making them feel? So people of the internet, could go on about this all day, but I can't because I'm live in Gemma's group in about 20 minutes. So what I would say is that, again, it's perfectly normal. People are just negative because they're coming from their own place of fear. So especially with competitors, they are thinking, who the hell is this person who's doing great things and being really successful? It triggers people massively. That said, it's still okay to be upset when people do stuff and say stuff, even if they're strangers off the internet, it's still okay to feel the feelings. I think most of us, I certainly am still that, you know, bullied 12-year-old girl who wants everybody to like me. But I'm also the 38-year-old mother of two who understands that I can't make everybody like me, and that's okay. So you have to distance yourself emotionally from these people. But that said, how do you deal with it? So how are we going to deal with this? So there's two ways you can deal with this, usually depending on how much you've had to drink. So the wrong way, obviously, is to retaliate. You know, I've seen this done really well, and I've seen it done really badly. And either way, nobody comes out of it covered in glory, really. So if people are consistently saying stuff about you, or my most common thing for me is this passive aggressive thing. So people take bits of what I say and then put it into a post, and it's quite clearly, I feel like it's quite clearly aimed at me. It might not be, it might just be me being paranoid. But, you know, people are like that because they feel like they have been exposed in some way. And I think that's the long and short of it. You know, if people are triggered enough by you to put a comment about you or something to do with you or your business online, this is definitely territory more about them than it is about you. If you retaliate and you start to create online arguments, there's two things that can happen. Usually no one comes out covered in glory. Sometimes, and I have done this quite effectively, is that you can take the higher ground so successfully and verbally kind of like cut it off. So almost like as soon as you see things start to escalate, if you know it's about you, you can just go in, like this happened to me. I was just thinking about something that I'd done, and it was all these people going, oh, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're that, blah, 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 you know. And I just went into that conversation and said, hiya, it was me. Sorry if that made you feel the way that you did, but, you know, I didn't mean it like that, blah, blah, blah. And then that just cut it dead. So people love to gossip and love to like get involved in stuff. But when somebody goes, I know you're talking about me, and that's fine. Like, didn't mean to be. You know, when you go in like that, people are just like, oh, that's took all the fun out of it. And it just cuts it dead. So that's one way of doing things. Another thing is that if you can, it's a bit like complaints, isn't it? So if people put a negative review, for example, on your Facebook page, if you sell stuff, for example, because, I don't know, you didn't answer the phone at 11:30 at night one Sunday night, and then they're like, oh, you should shit at customer service because it didn't get back to me and all the rest of it. Like, you can people can put negative things about you online. And because I used to work in social media, so that's a big worry for a lot of our clients when we manage their accounts. Then you can just take the high road, I call it. So you take the higher ground, you know, I'm sorry you feel this way, da 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 da, you know, just try and be as calm as possible. But public can be really, really, really powerful. Don't get involved in online arguing with these people. It is not worth it. But you can kill things off quite quickly by just responding, you know, saying, I'm very sorry if you feel like this, you know, always putting it onto them, you know, these are your emotions, like, there you go, that you can have them back. I'm sorry you feel like this, you know, you need to take responsibility for that. and then you can just kind of manage things a little bit better. You feel like you're a little bit more in control of things. If you get involved in an argument, for example, somewhere like 4M Community, if anyone's been in there, it's not for the faint-hearted. If you get involved in something in there and it gets out of hand, which it does occasionally, the easiest thing to do is turn off notifications, because you just keep getting dragged in. And I'm dead guilty of this. You know, honestly, ask Ray. There has been times where I've had my weekends not ruined, but I've been really physically upset by arguing with strangers off the internet, and like, it's just ridiculous, really. So again, you have to get back into your own lane and say, let's focus on the good stuff. So one of the things I would say about people being negative about you online is that the friends and family, people who love you, really need to take a breath and look at it from their point of view. For strangers off the internet who you don't care about and who don't care about you, you really do have to put it into perspective. So it's okay for me to be a bit upset, but I've got to focus on the positives. And one of the things I always say is that when people are mean about you or negative about you, you know, you've got to focus on the people who buy from you and say nice things about you, because they're your people. The people who are negative about you and put snippy comments about you are never going to be your ideal client anyway. So you really have to not focus your energy into their negative energy. So you have to look at it on balance. So if you feel yourself getting drawn into the negative, or even feeling like everything's being said about you, and again, I'm guilty of this, and to be honest, that's probably my own ego. I'm sure not everyone's talking about me all the time. No, it's just me being paranoid. Got to focus on the people who love you. So every time, don't dismiss it. So every time somebody sends you something great, so say like Olivia's on this call, she sells amazing jewelry, right? So every time someone messages you direct and goes, oh my God, I love this jewelry, it's absolutely brilliant, it's the best piece of jewelry I've ever had in my whole entire life, you're a genius, you're amazing, you're an inspiration, I think you're great, you know, they're the things that you want to be screenshotting and keeping. So if you delete all the stuff and don't look at all the stuff that's negative and you focus on those good things, keep them all in one place. So like when I'm really struggling and I'm feeling down, I will go to those comments. So I get lots of amazing messages of people going, oh Helen, I think you're amazing, I think you're an inspiration, I love you, all your stuff, I follow all your stuff, blah, blah, blah. I think you're great, you've really helped me, or you know, I've took your advice, it's changed my business, thank you so much, it's really been a game changer. Like, I get this kind of stuff all the time, which is why I do what I do, and it just gives me that level of confidence and comfort that when I see something negative about me, I put it against all of that positive, and it dilutes it massively. So you have to be able to have your kind of, let's call it your happy file. So make a happy file. So when you're feeling like shit, when you've had a row with your boyfriend, when your sister's in a pain, when your mum's ignoring you, you know, when there's people, like, everywhere you go, suddenly it kind of spirals and you're like, I am rubbish. I am absolutely rubbish. Look, all these people, you know, are being horrible. Like, I'm feeling it everywhere I go. When you get to that point, you need to go to your happy file in your phone, or your screenshots of all the lovely messages that people have ever sent you, and read those and drink it in. Drink it in. If you think of it like a battery, you've got people who will drain your energy, and there are people who will increase your energy. So, like, some people will do both. So the same person could be the person who can fill you up massively, and the same person can drain you because they have that power. These are the people who you really, really love and who really love you. You know, there's that power between you where you've got that ability to add loads of great stuff, and you can take it away, and sometimes we misuse that power. But you really need to look at, how can you fill your own cup up? So look at the times with your business, look at all the nice things that people have said about you and keep them in one place, so that when you're feeling like really shit, you've got somewhere to go and try and fill your own kind of energy back up. And then, of course, we know this, ladies and gents, you know, you've got responsibility for yourself. So you have to make yourself as resilient as possible. And one of the ways to do that is by doing self-care, which always makes me want to giggle because that's what I'm really immature. But self-care is like real hot buzzword at the moment, but it makes a massive difference. So you've got to do those things that you know you're supposed to be doing, and the more stressed you get, the less likely you are to do them. But the key things are, you've got to go for a walk, you've got to get outside, you've got to get near nature. Yeah, because when you're really down in the detail about how this is really bad and that's really bad, when you go and look at some trees, and they're just there, stood, like, you know, holding their own. They don't care what's going on around them. You need to be a bit more like a tree. So you like go and see some trees, some water, some nature, get your feet on the ground, especially if you work online, it's really important. Because a lot of it feels like it happens up here. We want to be down in the ground. Do your salt baths, do your meditation, get an early night, you know, spend time with people who you love, who fill you up, and, you know, do all those kind of good things and try and balance things out, because sadly people are always going to be negative around you. That's just the way people are, you know, that's just the way things are. I'd like to think that 99.9% of the time it comes from a place of love rather than anything really negative, and it's just all about balance, really. So if you've had any experiences with negative people online or in your life, you're definitely not alone. If you want to put anything in the comments or you want to message me about it, then go for it. Sometimes you just need someone to go, you know what, it's okay, it's normal. And it's normal to feel like crap if you see something that you don't like, or if somebody's not that nice to you. Definitely normal. But from a business point of view, you've got to keep focused what it is that you're doing, where it is that you're going, stay in your lane, and keep going, and you'll get you'll get where you need to go, because fundamentally the most important person is you and what's going on in your business. So try not to let it derail you, and the best revenge, if you like, is more success. So have a great day, everybody. See you later.